For 32 years, the familiar creak of my front porch was my alarm clock, along with the distant lowing of cattle drifting past the weathered split-rail fence. My family's 120-year-old ranch, Cottonwood Creek, sat just beyond the edge of a small town, now swallowed by sprawling suburbia. That peace shattered when a glossy letter arrived, its header screaming, "Welcome to Juniper Grove's HOA." I chuckled at first. An HOA? We had acres, barns, and a mailbox barely hanging onto a rusted pole. But as I read, my smile vanished. As part of the recently annexed territory under the Juniper Grove Development District, your property is now under HOA jurisdiction. Annexed by whom? We weren't even on city water. My wife, Sarah, thought it was a prank. Maybe some pushy realtor's ploy. Until the second letter arrived, hand-delivered by a woman in a pristine blazer and sharp stilettos. "Hi, I'm Veronica Vance," she said, unrolling a map across our porch table without asking. "You're now part of Juniper Grove, Phase 3. You'll need to comply with our aesthetic guidelines or vacate." I blinked. "Vacate?" She pointed to a shaded corner of the map. "This is designated recreational green space, purchased last quarter." I nearly choked on my coffee. "You think you bought my ranch?" Her smile was razor-thin, like I'd flubbed basic math. It was bundled with surrounding lots. The board voted. It's in the minutes. Minutes? Votes. My land wasn't some bake sale item. I slammed the screen door and dug out our deed, signed by my great-grandfather in 1904, notarized in faded ink. Veronica tapped her tablet. "That's quaint, but it doesn't reflect the updated zoning overlay approved by the county." My jaw dropped. "You don't own this land," I stated. Her reply? "Then hire a lawyer before we start eminent domain proceedings." That day, the laughter stopped. Within a week, violations flooded in. A sagging barn roof, an unregistered livestock structure, my dad's 1978 chicken coop, even a fine for non-standard vegetation density. Apparently, my pasture wasn't HOA approved because it wasn't xeriscaped. The final straw, a $200 fine for our windmill vital for irrigating crops since the Dust Bowl, not matching the community aesthetic. My new neighbors, city transplants in shiny SUVs, whispered about how nice a dog park would look once the ranch was raised. Veronica returned with 2 board members and a man in a cheap suit claiming to be the HOA's lawyer. "We're offering a smooth transition," she said, handing me a relocation packet with a flyer for a condo 2 counties away. Sarah's hands shook as she read it. Our daughter, Lily, sobbed when she saw her 4 H-goats listed as nuisance livestock. I called the county clerk, who sounded drained. "We've had dozens of calls about Juniper Grove." The council faced pressure from real estate donors. The HOA was real. Their claim, bizarre but plausible. They'd snared us in their suburban net, declaring us squatters on our own land. That night, I walked the ranch's perimeter as my father and his father had. But now, cul-de-sac lights blinked like greedy stars. A hostile takeover cloaked in legalese, and Veronica, with her clipboard and venomous charm, was just warming up. 2 days after I ignored their relocation packet, neon orange flags sprouted every 10 feet across my cattle pasture, slicing through the family cemetery where 3 generations lay buried. Veronica called them beautification pathway markers. I ripped them out, hands trembling, only for laminated signs to replace them overnight. Future Community Wellness Trail, property of Juniper Grove HOA. My phone pinged with a violation notice from an HOA app I'd never installed. $354. Unauthorized removal of survey markers. Then, I found my livestock gate zip-tied shut. A pink sticker read, "Access suspended, unsafe conditions." My cattle went without food or water all night. I cut the ties with bolt cutters and called the sheriff, who muttered, "Sounds like a civil matter." Talk to their lawyer. That lawyer? Veronica's cousin. A week later, a drone buzzed over my hayfield, circling the barn and hovering above Lily's treehouse. I traced it to a Juniper Grove-plated SUV where a man sipped iced coffee, watching a live feed. "Routine compliance monitoring," he said, eyes glued to his laptop. Lily stopped playing outside. Sarah drew the curtains. Fines arrived daily, non-regulation fencing, invasive flora, Sarah's wildflowers, even $500 for unauthorized agricultural noise at 8 a.m. Veronica delivered a pamphlet transitioning historic properties into modern communities, leaning against her Lexus in my driveway. You'll find this helpful if you stop fighting progress. I snapped. I'm fighting a land grab. She chirped, hostile. We've given ample warnings, gesturing to a laminated final notice of compliance, zip-tied to my mailbox. When I parked my truck to load hay, they tagged it for long-term vehicle storage. My tractor got the same. They claimed my irrigation runoff threatened sidewalk cohesion, despite no sidewalks existing. One morning, I found my barn door unlatched, 2 goats wandering near the road. Lily swore she'd locked it. A trail cam caught a figure in a hoodie unscrewing the latch, wearing unmistakable stilettos. I left the footage in Veronica's mailbox. The next day, her drone hovered 6 feet above my porch. I smashed it with a shovel. Within an hour, Veronica arrived with a deputy. You destroyed HOA property. I held up my deed. This porch is mine. The deputy shrugged. I'm just keeping the peace. I told Veronica to sue me. Her smile gleamed. Our attorneys love eminent domain cases. Sarah urged me to get a lawyer. I wanted an army. I rallied neighbors, dug through courthouse plat maps, and asked, how could they claim my land? At the county records office, a veteran clerk, Dolores, pulled a dusty ledger. Your deed's legit, but a reassignment was filed 2 months ago under the Juniper Grove overlay. My stomach sank. A forged signature in wobbly cursive, stamped with initials from a clerk retired 4 years ago. This is no mistake, Dolores whispered. It's fraud. I hired Arthur, a land use attorney who'd crushed HOAs before. He scanned the papers and whistled. They're using a shell trust, the Juniper Legacy Trust, to scoop up properties and donate them to the HOA. That ordinance they cited? It expired 5 years ago. He found 5 other properties, mostly old ranches, similarly sold to the trust with fake signatures. Veronica wasn't just a nuisance. She was running a real estate scam under the guise of beautification. Arthur uncovered a zoning proposal to turn the area into a luxury development, condos, shops, and an equestrian-themed cafe. The HOA needed 85% control to rezone. They had 79%. My ranch was the linchpin. The mock-up design showed Lily's treehouse as a juice bar, our barn a brewery. My blood boiled. Arthur grinned. Developers use HOAs as mini-governments to bully owners off their land. Veronica isn't even profiting directly. Her LinkedIn brags about revitalizing outdated rural hubs for clout. Sarah broke down. We weren't fighting a neighbor, but a machine in stilettos. I rallied 2 other holdouts. Mrs. Gable, an elderly widow tricked into signing bogus maintenance waivers, and Marcus, a disabled veteran facing easement demands despite never selling. We filed an emergency injunction, freezing HOA actions. Veronica, all pearls and fury, called our resistance a threat to community cohesion at a board meeting. We recorded it. Arthur sent everything to the county inspector general, a news station, and the state land board. The story aired. HOA accused of land theft. Veronica's smug face flashed beside the headline. The community erupted. The board panicked, and Veronica's empire began to crack. Neighbors I hadn't seen in years parked trucks along my road, spitting tobacco and swapping stories of HOA tyranny. A Facebook group, Juniper Grove Unchained, exploded with posts. $1,200 fines for birdhouses, Veronica's spa retreats billed as community engagement. Arthur filed a $3.4 million class action suit against Veronica, the board, and the trust. The HOA's insurance dropped them. Veronica's house got a lien. The county seized the fake trust, returning land to owners. Mrs. Gable cried when her deed was restored. Marcus hosted a barbecue under a sign. I fought for freedom twice. Now, I've got my porch back. Our ranch gained historical protection. Veronica's former office became a free legal aid center for HOA victims. At her trial, the judge, a former rancher himself, asked, "You forged deeds for a smoothie shop?" Veronica mumbled about urban revitalization. He sentenced her to 18 months probation and community service. Her scowl and her mugshot went viral when folks photoshopped it onto Monopoly cards. Go directly to jail. Do not pass Veronica. Juniper Grove rebuilt. We drafted the Juniper Grove Freedom Accord. No fines for flowers. No touching land without consent. No Veronica's in charge. We elected Ruth, a retired accountant, as president. Her slogan, budgets balanced, gardens free. Drones were banned, sold to fund a greenhouse. Marcus used one to film his tomatoes, streaming as Liberty Vines. Lily's treehouse got a plaque, Historic Play Structure Est. 2009, the ranch became a landmark, with tours teaching kids about the Great HOA Rebellion. Veronica tried starting a new HOA 2 towns over, but was shut down by a No to Vance campaign. She now alphabetizes deeds under supervision, her LinkedIn profile a ghost town. At the Cottonwood Creek Heritage Festival, our windmill wore a knitted vest, still spinning. Marcus dunked a Veronica lookalike in the dunk tank, kids chanting, "Your fence is half an inch too tall." We burned old citations in a bonfire, roasting marshmallows over my $200 unsightly barn fine. Arthur's TED Talk, "Don't Let Veronica Steal Your Land," ends with our windmill and a caption, "You don't need permission to live free." Lily wants to run for county commissioner to block future Veronicas. I believe her. We're not afraid of fines, fake rules, or stilettos. Veronica came for our ranch. Now, her name's on a scarecrow in our cornfield, wearing a sash. Compliance queen. Even the birds steer clear. What do you think? Was our fight worth it? Should we have played dirtier, like exposing Veronica's spa trips sooner? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's debate. Is pranking the Karens of the world justice or just petty revenge? Share your stories, reread, subscribe, hit that bell, and join the fight for freedom, one windmill at a time.